Like she said, my name is Rebecca Noal. I am a media arts major with a concentration in television and video production. I don't have a PowerPoint because I decided to create a documentary on the Strip District. So I will be showing a 3-minute section. Because I'm a television major, I decided to produce a documentary because it's one of the sections of television and film production that I'm interested in. And I'm also interested in history, so a documentary is kind of the best way the best thing to put into a documentary. I started doing research on Pittsburgh because when I moved here from my hometown, I just fell in love with it, and through my research, I started finding information on the Strip District. And for me, the Strip District was a place where you go and get good food, and you buy Steelers merchandise, and you kind of shop around. And through my research, I realized that in the 1800s, it was a huge industrial park with steel mills and glass works. Tobacco factories. So I wanted to look into the change from the late 1700s through to the early 1900s. During my research, I realized that all of the information on the Strip District was scattered throughout numerous books. So I would find a sentence here, a paragraph there. So I wanted to combine all of that into one thing. So my first idea when I first started this, I wanted it to be a full-length documentary. And then I realized I didn't want that. So talking to my advisor, I had just finished an internship with Argentine Productions, and they do work for museums. So I completely changed my script and everything so that it would be 7 parts, and each part would focus on a certain topic. So I have a part that focuses on transportation, so the canal and the railroad. And I have a part that focuses on the mills and home life. I have a part that focuses on the Civil War. And the whole idea behind the different parts was that it would be, these different sections would be set throughout a museum exhibit. So as you walk through, you can stop, you can touch the screen and see a 2 to 3 minute video about what this section of the exhibit was talking about. So I spent about 6 months researching, 3 months writing the script and starting to combine all of the information and all of the photographs. And during that 3 months, I did more research, so that's 9 months of research. And then I've spent the last 3 months putting it all together, numerous hours just working on this. So before I show the piece, I didn't put credits on this because it's kind of in the middle of everything. So I just wanted to thank Clay Glennie, who was my narrator. And in the video you will see Nick Ruffing, Jason Salomon, Rachel Carey, and Katrina Buchanan. And a big thanks to my thesis advisor, Carolina Loyola Garcia, because without her I probably wouldn't have this done. So this section that I'm going to show you is about 2 minutes and 45 seconds, and it is the section on mill life in the Strip District and Pittsburgh kind of as a whole, since during the 1800s the whole city of Pittsburgh was kind of just a lot of mills. Okay, so like I said, this is the mill life section of my documentary.
Factory life was very rough on the men and few women who worked in them. They worked 12-hour days, and sometimes they worked 24 hours straight when switching from day shift to night shift.
Even though the mills were thriving, jobs were far from steady. We were never guaranteed a full year's work. We had little money and even less food, especially meat. If food was sparse, I had to take the meat ration from my wife and children so I could be strong enough to work. My wife and children had to live off of bread, lard, and potatoes until I could make more money.
As Pittsburgh as a whole recovered from the Depression of the 1870s, the 1880s saw extremely high unemployment rates. The worst off were iron and steel workers. It's been suggested that almost 39% of iron and steel workers were out of a job in 1890.
Even worse than not knowing if Tom would have a job was not knowing if he would come home every night. I heard horror stories about people getting injured or killed in the factories every day. I worried all day and all night about hearing my dear Tom in the same situation.
There were many dangers associated with working in the mills. Men saw terrible things happen to their co-workers on a daily basis.
I've seen molten metal splash workers, extremely hot floors burn through the soles of other men's shoes. Molds and furnaces exploded all the time, and the machinery had no safety guards, so hands and fingers got caught in them all the time. The extremely loud noises from the machines caused some guys to lose their hearing. The completely hot temperatures drain you physically, and the long hours drain you mentally, which just led to more accidents.
Not only were the mills a dangerous place to work, the railroads were equally dangerous. It was a terrible place to work that cost a lot of men their lives.
I've seen men fall off of cars. I've seen men get run over by cars. I had my foot run over by a car. The day my foot got run over, my buddy John got hit by the car. I got lucky. Most of them weren't so lucky.
These jobs were some of the worst jobs around, and often left many women widowed to take care of their children alone.
Even though the mills and the railroads were dangerous jobs, the men just kept coming. Because it's the only jobs men could get, many of us ended up widowed. To make ends meet, some of us joined the workforce. For those of us who had children and couldn't leave the house, we brought in laundry or boarders. Some women sent their children to work in the mills and the railroad after they turned 9 or 10 years old. After my husband died, I couldn't think of sending my children to the place that killed him.